In the heart of Riverside, where the city's pulse beat with a weary rhythm, stood a crumbling apartment building that seemed to sag under the weight of its own history. Paint peeled from the walls like brittle autumn leaves, curling and falling, to reveal the scars of time. The elevator, a relic of better days, groaned and rattled when it worked at all, which was rare enough that most tenants took the stairs without complaint. On the third floor, in apartment 3C, lived 7-year-old Emma Davis and her mother, Lily Davis, in a space so small it felt like a whispered secret, yet so filled with love it glowed like a lantern in the dusk. Emma sat cross-legged on the warm rug in her bedroom, if it could be called that, for it was little more than a corner of the living room partitioned by a faded curtain. Her small fingers gripped a crayon, its tip nearly worn to a nub, as she colored a picture of a sunflower bursting with yellow petals. Around her, the walls were a gallery of her imagination, drawings of rainbows, smiling faces, and fantastical creatures taped over cracks and stains, transforming the modest space into a canvas of hope. The single window let in the fading light of evening, casting long shadows that danced with the dust motes in the air. Outside, the city hummed, car horns blaring, distant sirens wailing, but inside, Emma's world was quiet, save for the soft scratch of her crayon. "Emma, dinner's ready." Lily's voice called from the tiny kitchen, barely a counter and stove squeezed into a corner of the main room. Emma looked up, her hazel eyes bright with a wisdom that belied her years. "Coming, Mom." She carefully set her crayon down, adding her sunflower to the pile of drawings that brought color to their home. The apartment was humble, just 2 rooms plus a bathroom with a leaky faucet, but it was spotless, every surface scrubbed with care. Lily, still in her hospital scrubs from her day shift at Riverside General, stood at the stove, stirring a pot of macaroni and cheese. The lines around her eyes spoke of exhaustion, but her smile, warm as sunlight, was reserved for her daughter. Emma bounded into the kitchen, climbing onto a wobbly chair at their mismatched table. "Mac and cheese again?" she asked, her tone playful rather than disappointed. "With extra cheese, just how you like it," Lily replied, tucking a stray strand of Emma's brown hair behind her ear. She set 2 plates down, the portions small but lovingly prepared. "I've got to head back for the night shift at Mercy in an hour. Mrs. Sullivan from 3B will check on you before bed." Emma nodded, her expression solemn. This was their routine, etched into their lives since Emma's father, a man Lily rarely spoke of, had walked out when Emma was barely a year old. Lily worked double shifts as a nurse across 2 hospitals, her days a blur of patient charts and endless steps, all to keep a roof over their heads and food on the table. Emma understood more than most children her age, never complaining when meals were simple or when Lily missed school events. Instead, she poured her heart into her drawings, each one a silent promise to make her mother smile. "I made you something today," Emma said, her mouth full of pasta. She reached into her pocket and pulled out a folded paper heart, decorated with glitter and tiny drawings of stars. "For your locker at work, so you remember I'm thinking of you when you're helping sick people." Lily's eyes glistened as she took the heart, her fingers tracing the uneven edges. "It's beautiful, sweetheart," she said, her voice catching. "You know, you have the biggest heart of anyone I've ever met." "You always say that, Mom," Emma giggled, her cheeks flushing. "Because it's true," Lily said, reaching across the table to squeeze her daughter's hand. "Promise me you'll never lose that kindness, no matter what life throws at you." "I promise," Emma replied, her small voice earnest, though she couldn't yet grasp the weight of her mother's words. The moment was interrupted by a flicker of the kitchen light, a reminder of the building's temperamental wiring. Lily sighed, making a mental note to call the landlord again, though she knew it would likely go unanswered. Money was tight, always tight. Her paycheck barely covered rent, utilities, and groceries, with little left for extras. Emma's school supplies were often secondhand, her clothes patched at the knees. Yet Lily refused to let their circumstances define them. She taught Emma to find joy in the small things: a shared laugh, a new drawing, the rare treat of ice cream. On payday, earlier that day, Emma had faced a small cruelty at school. During recess, Mia, a classmate with shiny new sneakers, had pointed at Emma's faded shoes and laughed. "Do you shop at the dumpster?" Mia had teased, drawing giggles from a few others. Emma's cheeks had burned, but she'd smiled and said, "They're my adventure shoes. They've been everywhere." The retort had silenced Mia, but the sting lingered. Emma hadn't told Lily, not wanting to add to her mother's worries. Instead, she'd drawn a picture of Mia with a crown of flowers, hoping it might make her kinder tomorrow. As Lily cleared the plates, Emma helped, standing on tiptoe to reach the sink. "Mom, is tomorrow a special day?" Emma asked, remembering Lily's habit of finding magic in ordinary moments. Lily paused, her hands still in the soapy water. "I don't know, sweetheart," she said, a mysterious smile tugging at her lips. "I just have a feeling." Sometimes the most ordinary days turn out to be the ones that change everything. Emma tilted her head, intrigued. "Like a holiday?" "Not quite," Lily said, drying her hands and pulling Emma into a hug. "More like a surprise the world hasn't told us about yet." Later, as Emma brushed her teeth and slipped into her pajamas, Lily knelt beside her bed, tucking the warm but clean blankets around her. The room was chilly, the radiator clanking ineffectively, but Emma's smile warmed the space. "Sleep tight, my artist," Lily whispered, kissing her forehead. "Night, Mom," Emma murmured, already drifting off, her dreams filled with sunflowers and secret surprises. Lily lingered, watching her daughter's peaceful face. She thought of the bills piling up, the landlord's threats to raise the rent, and the ache in her bones from endless shifts. But she also thought of Emma's paper, hard, now tucked in her purse for her locker. For Emma, she would keep going no matter how heavy the load. As she grabbed her coat and headed out for her night shift, leaving Emma in Mrs. Sullivan's care, Lily couldn't shake the strange certainty that something was coming, something that might append their quiet, struggling life. Outside, the city was alive with its usual chaos: streetlights flickering, vendors packing up their carts, and the distant rumble of a train. Lily pulled her scarf tighter against the October chill, unaware that the next morning, a chance encounter on Emma's walk to school would set in motion a chain of events that would transform their lives forever. The world, it seemed, was holding its breath, waiting for a little girl with a big heart to change its course. The October morning dawned with a sharp, biting chill that painted the tips of Emma Davis's ears pink as she stepped out of the Riverside apartment building. Her breath formed small clouds in the crisp air, dissipating like whispers into the gray dawn. Clutched in her small hands were the straps of her faded backpack, heavy with school supplies and a carefully wrapped peanut butter sandwich, cut diagonally just as she liked it. Lily, exhausted from her night shift at Mercy Hospital, had prepared it before collapsing into bed, leaving Emma in the care of their elderly neighbor, Mrs. Sullivan, for the night. "Bye, Mrs. Sullivan," Emma called, waving to the old woman framed in the doorway, her arthritic fingers curled like winter branches. "Thank you for the braids." Mrs. Sullivan smiled, her eyes crinkling. "Stay warm, child, and mind the crossing lights." Emma nodded, her two neat braids bouncing as she skipped along the familiar route to Riverside Elementary. The city was stirring awake, its pulse slow and reluctant on this Monday morning. Store owners rattled up metal shutters, office workers clutched steaming travel mugs, and a street vendor's cart sent the scent of roasted chestnuts drifting through the air. Emma hummed a tune she'd learned in music class, her sneakers scuffing against the cracked sidewalk. Despite the cold and the weight of her backpack, Her heart was light, buoyed by the promise of a new day and her mother's words about surprises hiding in ordinary moments. At the corner of Maple Street, near the bus stop where the bench was, perpetually sticky with gum, something unusual caught Emma's eye. A man sat not on the bench but on the ground beside it, his back pressed against its rusted frame. His clothes were layered and tattered, a threadbare coat, a scarf unraveling at the edges, and boots so worn solace gaped like silent mouths. A gray beard, unkempt and streaked with silver, framed a face weathered by time and hardship. But it was his eyes that stopped Emma in her tracks, a vivid, piercing blue, like the sky on a rare, clear day in Riverside. They held a strange mix of sadness and alertness, as if he were both lost in memory and acutely aware of the world around him. Emma slowed her pace, her fingers tightening on her backpack straps. Lily's warnings about strangers echoed in her mind. Don't talk to them, don't get too close, especially in the city. But there was something about this man that didn't feel threatening, only tired and alone. As she approached, he glanced up, then quickly looked away, tucking his hands, red from the cold, deeper into his coat pockets. The gesture struck Emma as one of shame, as if he wished to be invisible. She stopped a few feet away, her sneakers scuffing the pavement, and felt a sudden certainty bloom in her chest. "Good morning," she said softly, her voice small but clear in the quiet morning. The man seemed startled, his blue eyes flicking back to her face. "Morning," he replied, his voice gravelly but gentle, like stone smoothed by a river. Emma shifted from foot to foot, her breath visible in the chilly air. She studied him for a moment, then asked, "Are you hungry, sir?" The question hung between them, fragile as the clouds of her breath. The man's eyes widened, not with suspicion, but with something like wonder, as if no one had spoken to him this way in a long time. He studied her face, searching for a motive, but found only the open, earnest gaze of a child. Yes," he admitted at last, his weathered face softening. Without hesitation, Emma unzipped her backpack and pulled out her sandwich, wrapped in crinkled foil. "Here," she said, extending it toward him. "It's peanut butter. My mom made it. She's a nurse, and she says protein helps you stay strong in cold weather." The man didn't reach for it immediately. "That's your lunch, isn't it?" he asked, his voice low, almost a whisper. Emma nodded, her braids bobbing. "It's okay. We get hot lunch at school on Mondays. Spaghetti day." She smiled, a reassuring curve of her lips, though she'd forgotten that hot lunch was actually tomorrow. "Not today." He hesitated, his calloused hands hovering in the air. Then, slowly he accepted the sandwich, his fingers brushing the foil with care, as if it were something precious. "Thank you," he said, his voice cracking slightly. To Emma's surprise, she saw his blue eyes grow shiny, a glimmer of tears catching the morning light. "You're welcome," she replied cheerfully. "I hope you have a nice day." She turned, her backpack bouncing, and continued her journey to school, humming her tune again, completely unaware that the man watching her small figure disappear around the corner was William Carter, a billionaire, whose net worth exceeded $12 billion. William sat motionless on the cold pavement, the sandwich cradled in his hands. He unwrapped it with deliberate movements, the foil crinkling in the quiet. The bread was slightly squished, the peanut butter spread unevenly, but to him, it was more than a meal. It was a gesture he hadn't experienced in years. As Emma's humming faded into the city's din, a memory surfaced, unbidden. His daughter, Grace, at 5 years old, sharing her favorite stuffed bear with a crying child at a park. "She needs it more than me, Daddy," Grace had said, her blue eyes so like his own bright with conviction. The memory stung, sharp and bittersweet, and William closed his eyes against it. "When was the last time someone looked at me without wanting something?" he murmured to himself, his voice lost in the breeze. For 3 weeks, he'd been living as one of the city's invisible, his tailored suits and penthouse traded for rags and a burner phone. It was a social experiment, a way to understand the world his wealth had shielded him from, but it had become something more, a search for meaning in a life hollowed out by loss. People had passed him by, averting their eyes, dropping coins without meeting his gaze, or crossing the street to avoid him. But this child, this remarkable girl, had seen him not as a problem or a threat, but as a person worthy of kindness. William pulled out his burner phone and dialed a number. "Michael, it's me," he said when his attorney, Michael Bennett, answered. "I need you to do some research." A girl, about 7, brown hair and braids, walking to Riverside Elementary from Maple Street. Find out everything about her and her family, and Michael make it priority. Across town, Emma arrived at Riverside Elementary just as the first bell rang. The playground was a chaos of shouting children, squeezing in final moments of tag before lining up. Mrs. Coleman, her teacher, stood by the entrance, her salt and pepper hair pulled into a neat bun. "Good morning, Emma," she said, smiling warmly. "Ready for our history project today?" "Yes, ma'am," Emma replied, her enthusiasm undimmed by the cold walk. "I finished my drawing of the Liberty Bell last night." As the children filed into the classroom, Emma's stomach growled softly, a reminder of her sacrifice. She pushed the hunger aside, focusing on the day ahead. During lunch period, her friend Mia noticed her empty hands. "Where's your lunch, Emma?" Mia asked, her brow furrowing. Emma shrugged, her smile unwavering. "I gave it away." "Gave it away? To who?" Mia pressed, unwrapping her own sandwich. "A man who looked hungry," Emma said simply. Mia wrinkled her nose. "You mean a homeless person? My dad says we shouldn't encourage them." Emma felt a flicker of discomfort at Mia's tone. "He's still a person, Mia. My mom says everyone deserves kindness." Before Mia could respond, Mrs. Coleman approached their table. "Emma, sweetie, are you without lunch today?" she asked, her voice gentle. Emma nodded reluctantly, her cheeks flushing. "Come with me," Mrs. Coleman said, leading her to the teacher's lounge. There, she unwrapped half a turkey sandwich from her own lunch bag. "Here you go." "I can't take your lunch, Mrs. Coleman," Emma protested. "You're not taking it," the teacher said, her eyes twinkling. "I'm sharing it, just like you shared yours this morning." Emma looked up, surprised. "How did you know?" "Mia mentioned it," Mrs. Coleman said. "That was very generous of you, Emma. Small acts of kindness can change someone's day or even their life." Emma took a bite of the sandwich, the taste of turkey and mustard grounding her. She didn't know that, at that moment, Michael Bennett was already gathering information about a 7-year-old girl and her hard-working mother from Riverside. Nor did she know that the man with the blue eyes was watching the city from a different perspective, his heart stirred by a simple sandwich and a pure heart. The wheels of change were turning, set in motion by a moment of compassion that would ripple far beyond the bus stop on Maple Street. 3 days after Emma's encounter at the bus stop, the Riverside apartment building was cloaked in the soft gray of a Wednesday evening. The air carried the faint tang of rain, and the streetlights flickered, casting uneven shadows across the peeling walls of apartment 3C. Inside, Lily Davis stood at the small stove in their kitchenette, stirring a pot of tomato soup, its steam curling upward like a fragile promise of warmth. Dark circles shadowed her eyes, etched deeper by another double shift split between Riverside General and Mercy Hospital. Across from her, at their wobbly kitchen table, Emma sat with a pencil poised over a worksheet, carefully coloring a diagram of the solar system for her science homework. "How many moons does Jupiter have, Mom?" Emma asked, her voice bright despite the late hour. Lily smiled, though exhaustion tugged at the corners of her mouth. "A lot, sweetheart. At least 67, last I checked." 67? Emma's eyes widened, her pencil pausing. "That's like having 67 nightlights all at once." Lily laughed softly, her daughter's imagination a fleeting balm for her weariness. Exactly like that. She turned back to the stove, the soup bubbling gently, when a firm knock at the door shattered the quiet moment. Both mother and daughter froze, their eyes meeting across the table. Visitors were rare in their world, especially on weeknights, and never unannounced. The last unexpected knock had been a bill collector, his clipboard and stern voice a reminder of their precarious finances. "Are we expecting anyone?" Emma whispered, her pencil still hovering. Lily shook her head, wiping her hands on a dish towel. "Stay there," she instructed, her voice low but firm. She moved cautiously to the door, her heart quickening. Through the peephole, she saw a tall man in an expensive-looking suit, his posture straight and formal. He didn't have the harried look of a salesman or the grim determination of a debt collector. Still, caution tightened her grip on the doorknob. "Who is it?" she called, one hand reaching for her phone on the counter. "Michael Bennett." "Ma'am," came the polite reply, steady and professional. "Attorney for William Carter. I'd like to speak with you and your daughter, Emma, if I may." Lily's hand froze mid-reach. William Carter. The name rang a faint bell, someone important, a name she'd seen in headlines about skyscrapers or charity galas. But why would his attorney know Emma's name? Her maternal instincts flared, a protective edge sharpening her voice. "How do you know my daughter's name?" she demanded, keeping the chain on the door as she cracked it. Open to confirm the man matched the peephole's image. Michael Bennett offered a respectful nod, his gray eyes calm but earnest. "I understand your concern, Miss Davis. My client had a remarkable encounter with Emma recently. I assure you, this visit is of a positive nature." He produced a business card, embossed with gold lettering, and slipped it through the gap. "Harrington and Associates, legal counsel to Carter Enterprises," it read, the heavyweight paper feeling foreign in Lily's calloused fingers. She examined the card, her mind racing. It looked legitimate, but legitimacy didn't mean safety. "What kind of encounter?" she asked, her tone unyielding. "And why does it involve my daughter?" "Perhaps it would be best if I explain properly," Michael said, his voice measured but warm. "I promise you have nothing to fear. May I come in?" Lily hesitated, glancing back at Emma, who had abandoned her coloring and was now peeking from behind the kitchen counter, her hazel eyes wide with curiosity. Something in Michael's tone, professional yet genuinely reassuring, prompted Lily to make a decision. She closed the door to unfasten the chain, then opened it fully, standing protectively in the doorway. "You have 5 minutes," she said firmly. Michael stepped into the modest apartment with the grace of someone entering a sacred space rather than a cramped, threadbare home. The aroma of tomato soup filled the air, a homely contrast to his tailored suit and polished shoes. His eyes fell on Emma, who clutched her pencil like a talisman. "Hello, Emma," he said gently, maintaining a respectful distance. "I believe you shared your sandwich with someone recently, a man with blue eyes at a bus stop near Maple Street." Emma's expression shifted from apprehension to surprise. "The hungry man?" she asked, her voice small but clear. "Is he okay?" Michael smiled, a genuine warmth softening his professional demeanor. "He's very well, thanks to your kindness." He knelt to her eye level, careful not to crowd her. "That man is my employer, Mr. William Carter, and your generosity touched him deeply." Lily moved closer to Emma, placing a protective hand on her daughter's shoulder. "I don't understand," she said, her voice tight with confusion. "Who exactly is your employer, and why was he accepting food from my child?" Michael straightened, turning to Lily with a nod. "Miss Davis, my client is William Carter, founder and CEO of Carter Enterprises. 3 days ago, Emma encountered him at the bus stop. At the time, Mr. Carter was Not dressed as you might expect a billionaire to be. A billionaire? Lily's eyes widened, her grip on Emma's shoulder tightening slightly. Michael nodded. Mr. Carter occasionally conducts what he calls social research. He dresses as a homeless person to observe authentic human behavior, free from the influence of his wealth and status. Emma perked up, her curiosity overriding her shyness. The man with the blue eyes? He's a billionaire? Yes, Emma, the very same, Michael confirmed, his smile gentle. And your act of kindness, offering him your only sandwich, profoundly affected him. Lily's expression shifted from confusion to realization. She turned to Emma, her voice soft but edged with concern. You gave away your lunch? Emma nodded sheepishly, her cheeks flushing. I wasn't that hungry anyway, she mumbled, though her stomach growled audibly, betraying her words. Michael opened his leather briefcase, removing a sealed envelope. Mr. Carter has been observing people for weeks. Most avoid him. Some offer coins without looking. Others cross the street. But Emma approached him with dignity and genuine kindness. He paused, letting the weight of his words settle. Ms. Davis, my client is the founder of Carter Enterprises, which owns technology firms, real estate, and hospital chains. His net worth exceeds $12 billion. Lily's jaw dropped, her mind struggling to process the information. Wait, the William Carter? The one who built the Carter Tower downtown? The very same, Michael said. And beyond his business ventures, he's known for his unconventional philanthropy. He looked at Emma, his expression softening. Mr. Carter was touched by your generosity, Emma, not because of the sandwich itself, but because of the spirit in which it was given. You saw him as a person, not a problem, when he appeared to have nothing to offer in return. Lily's protective instincts flared again. What does this have to do with us? Why are you here? Michael slid the envelope across the table. Mr. Carter would like to establish a full educational trust for Emma, covering private schooling through university. Additionally, he's offering you, Miss Davis, a position as head nurse coordinator at the Carter Medical Foundation, overseeing nursing staff and protocols across our affiliated hospitals. The salary would be approximately triple your current combined income, with regular hours and comprehensive benefits. The words hung in the air, heavy with possibility. Lily stared at the envelope, her hand trembling as she reached for it, but stopped short of touching it. Emma's eyes darted between her mother and Michael, sensing the weight of the moment but not fully understanding it. Why? Lily whispered, her voice barely audible. Why would he do this for strangers? Michael's professional demeanor softened slightly. Ms. Davis, my client has more money than he could spend in 10 lifetimes. What he lacks, what many wealthy people lack, are genuine human connections. Emma treated him like a person, not an opportunity or a burden. That's rarer than you might think. Lily's mind raced, a storm of hope and suspicion colliding. We don't need charity, she said stiffly, pride straightening her tired shoulders. Mr. Carter isn't offering charity, Michael replied. He's offering opportunity. He stood, closing his briefcase. Mr. Carter would like to meet you both properly, tomorrow evening if possible. He can explain his intentions more thoroughly. I'll leave you to discuss this. He moved toward the door, then turned back. Mr. Carter has a saying, true character is revealed when no one is watching. Emma showed tremendous character. Ms. Davis, my client simply wants to honor that. As the door clicked shut behind Michael, silence enveloped the apartment. The soup had gone cold on the stove, forgotten in the wake of his words. Emma climbed onto her chair, looking at the envelope as if it were a puzzle. Mom? She asked, her voice small. Is something bad happening? Lily reached across the table, squeezing her daughter's hand. No, sweetheart. I think something very unusual is happening. I'm just not sure what to make of it yet. That night, after Emma was tucked into bed, Lily sat alone at the kitchen table, the envelope unopened before her. She opened her laptop, her nurse's instinct for facts driving her to search for William Carter. Articles flooded the screen. His tech empire, his real estate holdings, his charitable foundations. But one headline, buried deeper, caught her eye. Carter family tragedy. Billionaire loses wife and daughter. Her heart quickened as she clicked the link, reading about Grace. Carter's death from a rare disease, and Sarah Carter's suicide 6 months later. The pieces clicked into place with painful clarity. Emma was the same age Grace would have been. Was this why William Carter was reaching out? Was he trying to fill the void left by his daughter? Lily closed the laptop, her stomach twisting. The offer was a lifeline school for Emma, a better job for her, but it came with questions she couldn't yet answer. As the city lights blinked outside, she wondered if this was the surprise she'd sensed, or a risk she couldn't afford to. Take.g very unusual is happening. I'm just not sure what to make of it yet. The next morning, Lily Davis woke with a heaviness in her chest, the weight of Michael Bennett's visit and the unopened envelope still lingering like an unanswered question. The Riverside apartment was quiet, save for the faint drip of the bathroom faucet and the soft hum of the city beyond the window. Emma, already dressed for school, sat at the kitchen table, eating a bowl of slightly stale cereal with the last of the milk. Lily watched her daughter, her hazel eyes bright with the innocence that had sparked this strange turn of events. The article about William Carter's tragedy, his daughter Grace's death, and his wife Sarah's suicide had kept Lily awake, her nurse's instincts wrestling with suspicion. Was this billionaire's offer a genuine act of gratitude, or was he trying to fill the void of his lost child with Emma? "Mom, are we going to see the man with the blue eyes again?" Emma asked, spoon paused midway to her mouth. Lily forced a smile, smoothing her daughter's braids. "Maybe, sweetheart. I need to talk to him first." She didn't mention the text she'd received late last night from William Carter himself, asking her to meet at the Children's Memorial Garden at 2 p.m. The invitation felt both personal and ominous, and Lily's protective instincts were on high alert. After dropping Emma at Riverside Elementary with a tight hug, Lily called in sick to her morning shift at Riverside General, a rare act that left her feeling unmoored. She needed clarity, and she needed it today. The city buzzed around her as she rode the bus to the garden, her purse clutched tightly, the unopened envelope from Michael Bennett, a silent passenger. The Children's Memorial Garden was a quiet oasis in the heart of the city, its paths lined with blooming flowers and small plaques honoring young lives lost too soon. Lily arrived precisely at 2 p.m., her sneakers crunching on the gravel path. She spotted William Carter sitting alone on a bench beside a small fountain, its gentle trickle a stark contrast to the storm in her mind. Gone was the tattered coat and unkempt beard from Emma's description. William wore a simple but impeccably tailored jacket, his silver-streaked hair neat, his posture slightly hunched as if carrying an invisible weight. In his hands was a small photograph, its edges worn from frequent handling. He didn't look up as Lily approached, his piercing blue eyes fixed on the image. She stopped a few feet away, her voice steady despite the knot in her chest. "Mr. Carter?" He glanced up, his expression softening but etched with a sadness that mirrored the garden around them. "Thank you for coming, Miss Davis," he said, standing and offering the photograph. "This is Grace." Lily took it hesitantly, her eyes falling on a smiling girl with the same striking blue eyes as William. Her heart clenched. She looked so much like Emma, not in features, but in the unguarded joy of her smile. "She's beautiful," Lily said softly, handing the photo back. "I read about what happened. I'm so sorry." William nodded, his fingers tracing the photo's frame. "She would have been 8 next month. Batten disease rare, degenerative. By the time we got the correct diagnosis, it was too late." His voice remained steady, but each word carried a raw edge. I was in Tokyo, closing a deal that seemed crucial at the time. Sarah, my wife, called repeatedly, but I kept postponing my return. I thought there'd be time. His knuckles whitened around the frame. I lost them both because I prioritized wealth over what mattered. Lily's throat tightened, her nurse's training kicking in. She recognized grief, not just in his words, but in the way his shoulders curved inward, as if shielding a wound. "Mr. Carter William," she corrected, noting his earlier request to be called by his first name. "I understand your loss is unimaginable, but I need the truth. Is Emma a replacement for Grace in your mind?" William met her gaze directly, his blue eyes clear despite their sadness. "No," he said firmly. "Emma is her own person, with her own life ahead of her. But when she approached me at that bus stop, offering her only sandwich, it reminded me of Grace. My daughter would have done the same thing, seen someone in need and acted without hesitation." He paused, collecting himself. "It wasn't just the sandwich, Miss Davis. It was the way she looked at me, as if I was worth her kindness, even when I looked like I had nothing to give." Lily crossed her arms, her suspicion not fully eased. "You're a billionaire. You could help any child, any family. Why us? Why Emma?" William gestured to the garden, its quiet beauty a testament to loss and love. "After Grace and Sarah died, I started the Carter Children's Foundation. We fund medical research, support families with sick children, provide educational opportunities. It's how I honor Grace's memory by helping children who are still here. Emma's act of kindness struck me because it was pure. She had so little herself, yet gave freely. That's rare, Ms. Davis. Most charity comes from surplus, giving what's easy to spare. Emma gave when it meant sacrifice." Lily's expression softened, but doubt still clouded her eyes. "And the job offer for me? The trust for Emma? It. Feels. Excessive for a sandwich." "It's not about the sandwich," William said, his voice earnest. "It's about recognizing character worth investing in. The educational trust would give Emma opportunities she deserves. The position at the Carter Medical Foundation needs someone with your experience, a nurse who knows the realities of patient care, not just theory. You've proven your resilience, working double shifts to provide for Emma. I believe you'd bring something vital to our work." Lily looked away, her gaze settling on the fountain, its water catching the afternoon light. "This seems too good to be true, William. In my experience, nothing comes without strings." He nodded, respecting her caution, a fair concern. "I'm not asking for anything in return except the chance to help. But I understand you need time. There's no deadline on the offer. Take as long as you need to decide." He hesitated, then added, "I'd like to meet Emma properly with you present, of course. I want her to know who I am, so there's no mystery." Lily studied him, searching for any hint of deception. His openness disarmed her, but the weight of her responsibility as a mother held her back. "I'll think about it," she said finally. "But I have conditions. If we move forward, it's on my terms. Emma's safety and happiness come first." "Understood," William said, a flicker of relief in his eyes. "You're not what I expected, Miss Davis. Your protectiveness, it's admirable." "I'm her mother," Lily said simply. "It's my job." As they parted, Lily walked back through the garden, the scent of blooming jasmine mingling with her swirling thoughts. William's words had stirred something in her hope, perhaps, but tempered by fear. The offer could change everything. Better school for Emma, a job that wouldn't drain her soul, a future without the constant threat of eviction. But what if it was a gilded cage? What if William's grief drove him to see Emma as something she wasn't? Back at the apartment, Lily found Emma sprawled on the living room floor, drawing a picture of a man with striking blue eyes sitting at a bus stop. "Is this him?" Lily asked, Kneeling beside her, Emma nodded, adding a touch of blue to the eyes. "He looks sad, Mom, but not scary sad. Like Miss Harper at the library when she talks about her husband." Lily smiled at her daughter's perceptiveness, but her heart ached. "Emma, if we meet him again, would you be okay with that?" Emma considered, her crayon pausing. "If he's nice, sure. But why are you worried, Mom?" Lily pulled Emma into a hug, her voice soft. "Because you're my world, and I need to make sure this is right for us." That evening, as Emma slept, Lily sat with Mrs. Sullivan, their neighbor, over a cup of tea. The older woman's eyes narrowed when Lily recounted Michael's visit. "Be careful, Lily," Mrs. Sullivan warned, her voice rough with age. "Rich folks like that always want something: control, loyalty, maybe even your girl. Don't let his money blind you." Lily nodded, her doubts reignited. The envelope sat on the table, still unopened, its contents a mystery she wasn't ready to face. As the city lights blinked outside, she felt the weight of a decision that could redefine their lives. Was William Carter a man seeking redemption, or a grieving father chasing a ghost? Only time and her own instincts would tell. The Riverside apartment felt smaller than ever as Lily Davis sat at the wobbly kitchen table, the unopened envelope from Michael Bennett staring back at her like a challenge. 5 days had passed since her meeting with William Carter at the Children's Memorial Garden, his words about Emma's kindness and his own loss echoing in her mind. The article about his daughter Grace and wife Sarah had softened her suspicion, but not erased it. Could she trust a billionaire whose grief might cloud his intentions? Yet the offer of full educational trust for Emma and a job that could end. Lily's endless double shifts was a lifeline she couldn't ignore. Emma's future hung in the balance, and Lily's heart ached at the thought of denying her a chance at something better. Emma, oblivious to her mother's turmoil, was sprawled on the living room floor, sketching a fantastical castle with towers made of butterflies. "Mom, do you think Mr. Carter lives in a place like this?" she asked, holding up her drawing. Lily smiled, her chest tightening. "Maybe not quite so many butterflies, sweetheart." She took a deep breath, knowing the time for indecision was over. "Emma, how would you feel if some things in our life changed? Big things, like your school or my job?" Emma's pencil paused, her hazel eyes serious. "Would we still be together?" "Always," Lily said immediately. "Would you still work all the time and be tired?" Emma asked, her voice small but piercing. Lily's throat caught. She hadn't realized how deeply Emma noticed her exhaustion. "No, sweetie. I might work in a different place with better hours. I'd be home more." Emma nodded, adding a yellow butterfly to her castle. "Then I think it'd be good." That evening, Lily called Michael Bennett. "I'd like to meet with Mr. Carter again," she said, her voice steady. "I have conditions to discuss." 2 days later, Lily sat across from William in his office. At Carter Tower, the city sprawling like a glittering map 52 stories below. Michael sat to one side, legal pad ready, his calm presence a steady anchor. William, dressed in a tailored suit, leaned forward, his blue eyes attentive. "I appreciate you coming, Miss Davis," he said. "I'm listening." Lily clasped her hands tightly in her lap, her nurse's pragmatism guiding her words. "I've thought about your offer, and I'm prepared to accept it with conditions." She took a breath. "First, Emma's education. I want her to attend Westbrook Academy. It's excellent academically, but emphasizes community service and empathy, which matter more to me than prestige." William nodded without hesitation. "Agreed. Westbrook is a fine choice." "Second," Lily continued, "the job. I'll accept the position at the Carter Medical Foundation, but I want to start as a regular nurse coordinator, not head coordinator. I need to earn my place based on merit, not your gratitude." William's eyebrows rose slightly. "That would mean a lower initial salary. I understand, Lily said firmly. But it's important for me and for Emma to see that positions are earned, not given. A flicker of respect crossed William's face. Very well. Anything else? Yes, Lily said, her voice resolute. We stay in our apartment for now. Emma's had enough change with a new school. Our place is small, but it's home. Maybe in a year, when she's adjusted, we can consider moving. William studied her, a faint smile tugging at his lips. You're not what I expected, Miss Davis. Most would have asked for a penthouse by now. I'm not most people, Lily said simply. And I want Emma to stay grounded, no matter what opportunities come. Your conditions are acceptable, William said, leaning back. All of them. But I have one request in return. Lily tensed, but he raised a hand. Nothing demanding. I'd like to establish a scholarship program at Westbrook in Emma's name for children from similar circumstances. She'd have no responsibilities, just her name honoring her generosity. Lily considered this, then nodded slowly. That's acceptable, but I need one thing clear. Emma is my daughter. Your role in her life must be appropriate and transparent. No hidden agendas. You have my word, William said solemnly. I'd suggest occasional dinners, perhaps twice a month, with both of you present. We can build a relationship at a pace that feels right. As Michael drew up the paperwork, Lily felt a cautious hope take root, though a small voice of doubt lingered. This was a leap into the unknown, but for Emma, she was willing to try. 2 weeks later, Emma stepped through the gates of Westbrook Academy, her new uniform crisp but slightly stiff against her skin. The campus was a world away from Riverside Elementary, with sprawling lawns and classrooms filled with books and computers. But the wealth of her classmates was intimidating children in designer shoes who glanced at Emma's patched backpack with curiosity or disdain. During her first week, a girl named Chloe, with perfectly curled hair, whispered loudly, "Nice shoes. Did you get them from a thrift store?" The comment stung, but Emma smiled, pulling out a drawing she'd made of a flower crown. "I made this for you," she said, handing it to Chloe, who hesitated before taking it, her smirk faltering dot at the Carter Medical Foundation. Lily began her role as a nurse coordinator, organizing staff schedules and patient care protocols. The work was challenging but fulfilling, a stark contrast to the grueling hospital shifts. Yet she faced skepticism from colleagues, particularly Karen, a senior nurse with sharp eyes and a sharper tongue. "Heard you're Carter's special project," Karen said one day, her tone dripping with insinuation. "Must be nice to have the boss's favor." Lily bit back a retort, focusing instead on a proposal to streamline patient intake, determined to prove her worth. The whispers and stares didn't go unnoticed, but Lily pushed forward her competence, slowly earning respect. One evening, as she reviewed charts, William stopped by her office. "Your proposal was impressive," he said. "It's already improving efficiency. You're a natural fit here." "Thank you," Lily said, her guard still up. "I'm just doing my job." At Westbrook, Emma was finding her place, her warmth winning over classmates. Her teacher, Mrs. Blackwell, paired her with a shy new student, Liam, who struggled to fit in. Emma shared her colored pencils and stories of Riverside, helping him feel at ease. "You're good at making people smile," Mrs. Blackwell said, her praise warming Emma's heart, but the fragile stability of their new life was disrupted one evening when Lily returned home to a voicemail on their ancient answering machine. "Lily, it's John," a voice said, rough and unfamiliar. "I heard you're doing well now. I want to see Emma. I'm her father, and I deserve a chance to make things right." Lily's heart stopped. John, Emma's father, had vanished when Emma was a baby, leaving nothing but debts and broken promises. She listened to the message again, her hands trembling. His timing was too convenient. News of her job at the Carter Foundation had spread. And now he was back, sniffing out opportunity. She deleted the message, her mind racing. John's return was a threat she hadn't anticipated, one that could unravel the careful balance she was building for Emma. That night, as Emma slept, Lily sat on their small balcony, the city lights blurring through her tears. She clutched the paper heart Emma had made, its glitter catching the moonlight. The offer from William Carter had opened a door to a better future, but John's voice was a shadow from the past, threatening to pull them back. She needed to protect Emma, but how? As the city hummed below, Lily resolved to face this new challenge head-on, just as she had every other. But the doubt lingered. Could she trust William's intentions, and could she keep John from disrupting their lives? The Riverside apartment was a sanctuary of quiet on a chilly November evening. But for Lily Davis, the air felt charged with an impending storm. John's voicemail, his audacious claim to see Emma after 8 years of absence, had ignited a fire of protective fury in her chest. She sat at the kitchen table, her fingers tracing the edge of Emma's latest drawing, a vibrant scene of Westbrook Academy's courtyard, where Emma had started her new school just weeks ago. The transition had brought hope, but John's sudden reappearance threatened to unravel it all. Lily knew his type, opportunistic, drawn not by love, but by the whisper of her new job at the Carter Medical Foundation. She needed to act, and fast. Emma, unaware of the voicemail, was curled up on the couch, reading a library book about constellations. "Mom, did you know Orion's belt is 3 stars in a row?" she called, her voice bright with discovery. "That's amazing, sweetheart," Lily replied, forcing a smile. She hadn't told Emma about John, unwilling to burden her with a father who'd never cared. But the threat of his return loomed, and Lily knew she couldn't face it alone. She picked up the phone and dialed Michael Bennett, William Carter's attorney, whose calm professionalism had earned her trust. "Michael, it's Lily," she said when he answered. "I need legal advice. Emma's father has contacted me, demanding to see her. He's been gone since she was a baby. Can I do this?" Michael's voice was steady. "I'll look into it, Miss Davis. Send me any details you have: his name, contact information, anything from the past. We'll ensure Emma's protected." "Grateful." Lily hung up, but her unease lingered. She glanced at Emma, whose innocence had sparked this chain of events with a simple peanut butter sandwich. How could she shield her from a man who saw her as a bargaining chip? At Westbrook Academy, Emma was navigating her own challenges. The school's polished halls and well-dressed students were a stark contrast to Riverside Elementary, and while her kindness had won some friends, it also drew scrutiny. Chloe, the girl who'd mocked her shoes, had rallied a small group to exclude Emma, whispering about her charity case status. During art class, Chloe accidentally spilled paint on Emma's drawing of a starry sky. "Oops," she said, smirking. "Guess you'll have to start over." Emma's cheeks burned, but she remembered her mother's words about kindness. "It's okay," she said softly, wiping the paint with a rag. "I can fix it." Her restraint disarmed Chloe, who walked away, unsettled. Mrs. Blackwell, the teacher, noticed and pulled Emma aside. "You handled that well, Emma," she said. "How about joining our community service project? We're making care packages for a local shelter. I think you'd be great at it." Emma's eyes lit up. "I'd love to." The project gave her purpose, and she poured her heart into decorating the packages, earning smiles from classmates like Liam, her shy friend. But the sting of Chloe's cruelty lingered, a reminder that her new world wasn't always kind. At the Carter Medical Foundation, Lily was proving her worth, her proposal for patient intake now implemented across 3 hospitals. But Karen, the senior nurse, continued her subtle sabotage. During a staff meeting, Karen questioned Lily's scheduling changes. implying they favored certain nurses due to Lily's connections. The insinuation stung, but Lily responded with data showing improved patient wait times. "It's about efficiency, not favoritism," she said calmly, earning nods from colleagues. Later, her supervisor, Dr. Patel, praised her. "You're a natural leader, Lily. Don't let the naysayers get to you." Still, Karen's hostility was a thorn, and Lily sensed it would worsen. She confided in William during one of their bi-weekly dinners, held at a cozy family restaurant to keep Emma at ease. William listened, his blue eyes thoughtful. "Karen's threatened by your competence," he said. "Keep doing your work. She either adapt or expose herself." Emma, nibbling on macaroni and cheese, chimed in. "Like at school, when Chloe's mean, but I just keep being nice?" William smiled, charmed by her insight. "Exactly, Emma. Kindness is your strength." The dinner was a bright spot, with Emma sharing stories of her care package project and William asking about her favorite constellations. Lily watched, her guard lowering slightly. William's respect for their boundaries was reassuring, but John's shadow loomed, a threat she couldn't share yet. The storm broke a week later when Lily received a call from Westbrook Academy. "Miss Davis, there was an incident," the principal said. "A man claiming to be Emma's father approached her at recess. We intervened, but Emma's shaken." Lily's heart plummeted. She rushed to the school, finding Emma in the counselor's office, clutching her backpack. "Mom, he said he was my dad," Emma whispered, her eyes wide. "I didn't know him." Lily pulled her close, rage and fear warring within her. "You're safe now, sweetheart. I promise." She called Michael, who arranged an emergency meeting with a family law attorney. The latter, Miss Torres, was blunt. "John has no legal standing after abandoning Emma, but he could cause trouble. We'll file for a restraining order and prepare for a custody hearing if he pushes." That evening, Lily confronted John at a neutral location, a diner near the courthouse, with Michael present for support. John, lean and unshaven, wore a smug grin. "I heard you're cozy with William Carter," he said. "Big job, fancy school for Emma. I just want what's mine, a chance to be her dad. Maybe a little help to get back on my feet." Lily's voice was steel. "You left us, John. You don't get to waltz back because I'm doing better. Emma's my daughter, and you'll stay away." John's grin faded, his tone turning cold. "I'll see her, Lily, one way or another. Courts love giving fathers a chance." Michael intervened, his voice calm but firm. "Mr. Hayes, you have no case. Abandonment for 8 years is a strong argument against you. Push this, and you'll face legal consequences." John stormed out, but his threat lingered. Lily returned home, her resolve hardened. She sat Emma down, explaining gently. "That man was your father, but he hasn't been part of our lives. I'm making sure he stays away, okay?" Emma nodded, her voice small. "I just want you, Mom." Lily hugged her tightly, vowing to protect their new life. She called William, updating him briefly. "I'm handling it," she said, "but thank you for Michael's help." "You're not alone, Lily," William replied. "Whatever you need, I'm here." The next week, Emma threw herself into the shelter project, her kindness a shield against her fears. At a school event, she presented the care packages, her speech about helping others earning applause. William attended, his presence a quiet support. "You're incredible, Emma," he said afterward, handing her a small notebook for her drawings. "Keep shining." Lily, meanwhile, faced Karen's escalating hostility. During a critical project to launch a mobile clinic, Karen misplaced key documents, delaying the timeline. Lily stayed late, reconstructing the files, and presented them triumphantly at the next meeting. Dr. Patel noticed Karen's error and issued a warning, but Lily knew the battle wasn't overdone as the month ended. Michael called with news. The restraining order against John was granted, and he'd agreed to drop his claims in exchange for no further legal action. Relief washed over Lily, but she remained vigilant. Their new life, Emma's school, her job, their dinners with William was taking root, but John's brief intrusion reminded her how fragile it was. That night, Lily and Emma sat on their balcony, wrapped in a quilt. "Mom, do you think being kind is worth it, even when people are mean?" Emma asked, her voice thoughtful. Lily kissed her forehead. "It's always worth it, Emma. Your kindness started this, and it's stronger than any trouble we face." As the city lights blinked below, Lily felt a quiet strength. John was gone for now, but Karen's scheming and Emma's school struggles loomed. Yet, with William's support and Emma's unwavering heart, she felt ready to face whatever came next. But a nagging fear lingered. Would their newfound stability withstand the challenges still lurking in the shadows? The Riverside apartment was bathed in the soft glow of a December dawn, the city outside muffled by a light dusting of snow. Lily Davis stood at the kitchen counter, pouring coffee into a chipped mug, her mind a whirlwind of relief and resolve. The restraining order against John, Emma's estranged father, had been granted a week ago, and his reluctant agreement to drop his claims had lifted a weight from her shoulders. Yet, the battle had left scars. Lily's trust in their new life was fragile, tempered by the fear that another threat could emerge. She glanced at Emma, who was sketching a winter scene at the table, her pencil tracing delicate snowflakes. The 7-year-old's resilience, sparked by a single act of kindness at a bus stop, was the anchor that kept Lily grounded. "Mom, can we make a snowman later?" Emma asked, her hazel eyes bright with anticipation. "If the snow sticks, we'll try," Lily promised, her smile genuine but tinged with fatigue. The past month had been a gauntlet. John's intrusion, Corinne's hostility at the Carr Medical Foundation, and Emma's struggles at Westbrook Academy. But today, a new chapter beckoned. William Carter had invited them to discuss a project that could redefine their purpose, a COS, Pediatric Diagnostic Center named for his late daughter, Grace. And Emma thought the legal battle with John had reached its climax in a small courtroom downtown. Lily, flanked by Michael Bennett and their attorney, Miss Torres, faced John across the polished table. His smug demeanor had crumbled under Miss Torres's relentless case. 8 years of abandonment, no financial support, and a history of unreliable behavior. "Mr. Hayes, you have no legal standing," the judge declared, granting the restraining order. John's final glare at Lily was venomous, but he signed the agreement to relinquish his claims, knowing a custody fight would ruin him. As Lily left the courthouse, Michael squeezed her shoulder. "You did well, Miss Davis. Emma's safe." At home, Lily had held Emma close, explaining gently, "He won't bother us again, sweetheart. It's just you and me, like always." Emma nodded, her relief palpable, though a quiet question lingered in her eyes. Lily sensed it, but didn't press, knowing Emma would share when ready done at Westbrook Academy. Emma was blossoming despite the challenges. Chloe's clique still whispered about her thrift store roots, but Emma's kindness was disarming. During the community service project, she'd organized a drive for winter coats, her passion inspiring even Chloe to donate. At the project's closing event, Emma spoke to the school, her voice clear. "Everyone deserves to be warm," she said, holding up a coat she'd decorated with fabric paint. The applause was warm, and Mrs. Blackwell pulled her aside. "You're a leader, Emma. Don't let anyone dim your light." The event was a turning point. Liam, her shy friend, became a constant companion, and even Chloe softened, offering a hesitant apology. "Your coat idea was cool," she mumbled, and Emma grinned, handing her a painted bookmark. But the victory was bittersweet. Emma missed her old friend Mia from Riverside Elementary, who'd grown distant since Emma's move to Westbrook. She drew a picture for Mia, hoping to bridge the gap. but the ache of change lingered at the Carter Medical Foundation. Lily's star was rising. Her mobile clinic project was gaining traction, with the first unit set to launch in underserved neighborhoods. But Karen's sabotage had escalated. During a critical planning session, Karen presented outdated data, claiming it was Lily's work, nearly derailing the project. Lily, prepared with her own records, corrected the error calmly, earning Dr. Patel's approval. "This is why we need you, Lily," he said. Karen's face reddened, and later, Lily overheard her muttering to a colleague about Carter's pet. The hostility was draining, but Lily focused on her goal, proving her worth through results. William, aware of the tension, offered support during their next dinner at a cozy Italian restaurant. Emma, twirling spaghetti, shared her coat drive success, and William listened with genuine interest. "You're changing lives, Emma," he said, his blue eyes warm. To Lily, he added, "Karen's behavior won't go unnoticed. Keep shining." And she fade. Lily nodded, grateful but guarded. "I just want to do my job without games." After dinner, William proposed his vision: the Grace and Emma Center for Pediatric Diagnosis, a facility focused on early detection of rare diseases. Grace's illness was missed until it was too late, he said, his voice low. "I want to prevent that for other families. I want to prevent families. Lily, your nursing experience could shape our protocols. Emma, your heart inspired this. Would you both allow your names to honor it?" Emma's fork paused. "My name? With Grace's?" William smiled softly. "Your kindness showed me purpose after loss. That's worth commemorating." Lily's heart swelled, but caution lingered. "It's a big responsibility, William. I need to know it's about helping kids, not anything else." "It's about saving lives," he assured her. "Your input would ensure it's practical and compassionate. No strings, just a chance to make a difference." Lily agreed to consider it, moved by the sincerity in his eyes. Back home, she researched Batten disease, Grace's illness, her nurse's mind absorbing the devastating details. The center could save children, but naming it after Emma felt like a spotlight she wasn't sure her daughter was ready for. The following week, Lily threw herself into the center's planning, drafting protocols for early screening. William invited her to tour a proposed site, a modern facility with bright rooms and a garden for families. "This could be a beacon of hope," he said, and Lily saw the vision take shape. She suggested adding a family support wing, drawing on her own struggles. As a single mother, William nodded, impressed. "That's exactly what we need." Emma, meanwhile, faced a new challenge at school. A younger student, Sophie, was being bullied for her stutter. Emma intervened, sharing her own story of Chloe's taunts. "They don't know you yet," she told Sophie, giving her a painted rock with a star. "You're stronger than their words." Sophie's shy smile was a victory, and Mrs. Blackwell recommended Emma for a peer mentor role, cementing her place at Westbrook. But Karen's vendetta peaked at a foundation event launching the mobile clinic. She accidentally sent incomplete invitations, reducing attendance. Lily, suspecting sabotage, had prepared a backup plan, live streaming the event to reach a wider audience. The turnout was a success, and Dr. Patel confronted Karen, who admitted her mistake under pressure. She was suspended, and Lily's colleagues rallied around her, their respect now unequivocal. The Grace and Emma Center's groundbreaking ceremony came in late December, a crisp day with snowflakes dancing in the air. Emma, bundled in a new coat from her drive, stood beside Lily and William, her eyes wide at the crowd of doctors, donors, and families. William spoke first, his voice steady but emotional. "This center honors my daughter, Grace and Emma Davis, whose kindness reminded me that hope can rise from loss." He gestured to Lily. and it's built on the expertise of Lily Davis, whose compassion will guide us. Lily took the podium, her voice clear. This is for every family facing the unknown. We'll find answers together. Emma, too shy to speak, handed out star-shaped pins she'd designed. Earning smiles from attendees. Afterward, William joined them for hot chocolate at a nearby cafe. You both made today special, he said, his eyes glistening. Emma grinned, her star pin gleaming. It feels like Grace is here, doesn't it? William nodded, his voice soft. She is, Emma, and so are you. Lily watched, her heart full. The center was a legacy of kindness, but John's shadow and Karen's defeat reminded her of their fragility. As they left the cafe, Emma slipped her hand into hers. Mom, are we doing okay? Better than okay, Lily said, squeezing her hand, but a quiet fear lingered. Would their new purpose withstand the tests still to come? 5 years had passed since a 7-year-old girl with a peanut butter sandwich crossed paths with a billionaire disguised as a homeless man at a Riverside bus stop. On a crisp April evening, the Grace and Emma Center for Pediatric Diagnosis stood as a beacon of hope, its glass walls reflecting the golden hues of sunset. The center, now in its 3rd year, was unveiling a new wing dedicated to family support services, counseling, resources, and temporary housing for families traveling for their children's care. The air buzzed with anticipation as donors, doctors, and families gathered in the center's garden, where a small fountain murmured softly, a symbol of healing and renewal. 12-year-old Emma Davis stood at a podium, her once tiny frame now taller, her braids replaced by a neat ponytail. Her hazel eyes, still bright with the wisdom that had defined her even as a child, scanned the crowd. She wore a simple blue dress, a star-shaped pin from the center's groundbreaking ceremony gleaming on her collar. Beside her, Lily Davis, now Chief Nursing Officer at the Carter Medical Foundation, watched with pride, her determined chin a mirror of her daughter's. William Carter sat in the front row, his silver-streaked hair catching the light, his blue eyes glistening with quiet emotion. The journey that began with a sandwich had transformed them all, and tonight, Emma would share its story. When I was 7, Emma began, her voice clear and confident, I gave my lunch to a man who looked hungry. I didn't know he was. Mr. William Carter. I didn't know he was wealthy or important. I just saw someone who needed something I could give. She paused, her gaze finding William, whose faint smile encouraged her. That moment changed so many lives, not just mine and my mom's, but hundreds of families who found help at this center. The crowd listened, rapt, as Emma spoke of the center's impact. Dozens of children saved through early detection of rare diseases. Families supported through unimaginable challenges. Lily's protocols had streamlined care, ensuring compassion, matched medical excellence. The Sophia Thompson Scholarship Fund at Westbrook Academy, renamed for Emma in this story, now supported 20 students annually, with Emma mentoring many. The most important lesson I've learned, Emma continued, is that kindness creates ripples. One small act can multiply beyond anything we imagine. She gestured to the families in the audience, parents whose children had received life-saving diagnoses. Every person here has the power to start that ripple. Applause filled the garden, warm and heartfelt. Lily stepped forward, squeezing Emma's shoulder. I'm so proud of you, she whispered, her voice thick. She took the podium, her nurse's pragmatism softened by gratitude. This center is a testament to what happens when we see each other, not as strangers, but as people deserving of care. Thank you, William, for believing in us, and thank you, Emma, for showing us the way. William rose, his presence commanding yet humble. Grace, my daughter, would have loved this place, he said, his voice steady but emotional. Emma's kindness gave me purpose after loss. This center is their legacy, and I'm honored to be part of it. He looked at Lily and Emma, his smile genuine. You've taught me that wealth means nothing without meaning." As the ceremony ended, families mingled, sharing stories of hope. A mother approached Emma, her eyes teary. "My son's alive because of this center," she said, handing Emma a letter from her child, a crayon drawing of a star. "Thank you." Emma clutched the letter, her heart swelling. She slipped it into her notebook, where she kept mementos of her journey. The first star pin, a photo of her and Lily in their old apartment, a sketch of William at the bus stop. Later, the trio walked through the center's garden, the fountain's murmur a soothing backdrop. Emma ran ahead, tracing the names on a memorial wall for children like Grace. Lily and William followed, their steps slow, a comfortable silence between them. Their twice-monthly dinners had evolved into a cherished ritual, sometimes at museums or community events, expanding Emma's horizons. William had become what Emma called a friend who really listens, never crossing into a parental role. Lily, once guarded, now valued his insight and shared vision for healthcare reform. "Do you ever think about that day?" Emma asked, rejoining them, her ponytail bouncing. "The bus stop?" William nodded, his blue eyes distant. "Every day. It reminds me that our lowest moments can lead to our greatest blessings." Lily smiled, taking Emma's hand. "I think about that sandwich. Who'd have thought a peanut butter sandwich could change so many lives?" "It wasn't the sandwich," Emma said, her voice wise beyond her years. "It was about seeing someone who needed help and not looking away." William laughed softly, a sound that had grown easier over the years. "You're right, Emma. It's always been about that." They stood by the fountain, the evening light softening around them. Lily reflected on their journey, the struggles in Riverside, John's threat, Karen's sabotage, Emma's school challenges. Each had tested them, but their bond forged by love and kindness had held firm. The center was more than a building. It was proof that small acts could ripple outward, touching lives they'd never know. As they left the garden, Emma clutched her notebook, the letter from the boy tucked inside. "Mom, can we visit Ms. Harper at the library? I want to tell her about tonight." "Of course," Lily said, her heart full. Ms. Harper, their old librarian, had been a quiet supporter, and Emma's visits kept their Riverside roots alive. They'd moved to a larger apartment closer to Westbrook, with a balcony where Emma grew herbs, but their values remained unchanged. Lily's role at the foundation had grown, her mobile clinics now serving thousands. While Emma thrived at school, her peer mentoring a source of pride. William walked them to their car, a sleek but unpretentious vehicle provided by the foundation. "Thank you for tonight," he said, his voice warm. "You've given me more than I can repay." "You've given us plenty," Lily replied, her smile genuine, "a future we never dreamed of." As they drove away, Emma waved, her star pin catching the streetlights. William watched until the car vanished, then returned to the garden, sitting by the fountain. Grace's memory lived here, but so did hope, sparked by a girl who saw him when he was invisible. He brushed away a tear, grateful for the second chance Emma's kindness had given him. This story of Emma, Lily, and William is more than a tale of a sandwich and a billionaire. It's a reminder that kindness, no matter how small, can create waves of change. Emma's simple act at 7 years old didn't just feed a hungry man. It inspired a center that saved lives, a scholarship that lifted others, and a friendship that healed broken hearts. The humanitarian lesson here is clear. Every choice to see, to care, to act has the power to transform not just one life, but many. In a world often divided, Emma's story teaches us to look beyond appearances, to give without expecting return, and to believe in the ripple effect of compassion. Lily's resilience shows us that trust, though hard won, can open doors to hope. William's journey from grief to purpose reminds us that loss can lead to legacy when guided by love. Together, they prove that kindness isn't a moment. It's a movement, one we can all join. Whether it's sharing a meal, offering a smile, or standing up for someone in need, your actions matter. What ripple will you start today? If this story touched your heart, there's more to discover. Subscribe to Legacy Stories on YouTube, where we share tales of compassion, courage, and connection that inspire us to make a difference. Join our community, share your thoughts in the comments, and let's keep the ripples going. Visit Legacy Stories today, because every story can change the world.